Today I want to take the roles of both evolutionary biologist and Yu-Gi-Oh historian and examine an evolutionary arms race which led to the phenomena of the unkillable boss monsters and the rapid acceleration of monster-based removal that resulted from it. One of the evolutionary predecessors to the unkillable boss monster is the card Exodia Necros, which boasted immunity to destruction from battle, as well as being unaffected by spell and trap cards, although it was still susceptible to monster-based removal, like Maneater Bug. Later, the eponymous unkillable Obelisk deck arose, merging Obelisk the Tormentor's inherent protection from targeting effects as well as its unique ability for its summon to not be negated, nor cards activated in response to its summon, with a blanket destruction immunity from the tributed Hardened Armed Dragon. A formidable boss indeed, Obelisk was not immune, however, to the effects of non-targeting, non-destruction based removal, with an outstanding example being Creature Swap's ability to steal the monster. But in 2014, a new trend emerged, as the unkillable boss monster entered the mainstream. No longer requiring turns of setup with considerably less investment, Beals of the Diabolic Dragons was the genesis of a new era. With just a malicious and plague spreader zombie, 2 Beals could be made on the first turn. Immune to all destruction effects, according to conventional wisdom, the best counterplay options were Compulsory Evacuation Device and the Battle Trap Dimensional Prison. But a new option arose alongside Beals. Number 101, Silent Honor Arc, was a new breed of monster-based removal and an essential implement in the Rank 4 toolbox, immediately making number 50, Black Ship of Corn, obsolete, and rivaling Modulce Queen Tiramisu, trading the greater impact on the board for a layer of protection. To briefly address the impact of 101 Silent Honor Arc, the previous incarnation of the Rank 4 toolbox must be examined. Initially, a combination of Maestroke, the Symphony Gen, and Photon Paplio Operative were the generic Rank 4 removal option, which offered decent board presence but was extremely resource intensive to accomplish, and relied on battle to destroy the monster. Later, Diamond Direwolf allowed for instant removal, but at a premium, as the player often expended 2 or more resources, with the notable exception of play and Beast Warrior decks. 101 afforded not only a non-destruction removal option, but also gained a layer of protection in the process. Contrary to common belief, 101's release predated that of Beals, but Beals was spoiled first, resulting in a stretch of time where Beals lacked an efficient counterplay option. 101 Silent Honor Arc was virtually unmatched for almost 7 months, easily removing the battle-immune threat of El Shaddai Construct, with the added benefit of not immediately triggering the recursion effect of Construct. Even its Rank 4 Mass Destruction contemporary, Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, did not infringe upon the play of 101 Silent Honor Arc, as sometimes surgical extraction is preferable to the nuclear option. A threat to Silent Honor Arc's hegemony was eventually established in Skyblaster Musketeer Castel, which allowed for both the ability to spin any card back to the deck, as well as allowing for a Book of Moon-like effect, which could be activated twice. Although Castel might have been seen as the natural evolution of Silent Honor Arc, the 2 monsters coexisted in the Rank 4 toolbox, with many players running at least a copy of each, depending on preference, although the increased utility of Castel is generally preferred now. Perhaps 101 Silent Honor Arcs and Castel's Achilles heel was the targeting nature of their effect, as targeting immunity quickly became the minimum standard for protection in the boss monster pool. Going beyond the targeting immunity boilerplate though, Apocryphort Towers was immune to nearly all card effects. On top of boasting a massive board presence, Towers was an engine for value. Each turn it could deplete an opponent's resource, and even decrease the attack of all special summoned monsters. Towers was the biggest threat, and the first really unkillable boss monster, to the degree that future boss monsters would colloquially be referred to as Towers in themselves. Silent Honor Arc could not affect Towers, and a flurry of older cards were brought to attention, just to match the threat of a single card, with notable examples being the re-emergence of Injection Fairy Lily and battle-based hand traps like Blackwing, Kalut the Moonshadow. Eventually, Apocryphort Skybase would join towers as a threat in the Klee arsenal, but the targeted change of heart effect was generally less effective than the recurrent resource depletion of its predecessor. The challenger to the dominance of Apocryphal towers was an unlikely one, as number 52, Diamond Crab King, could contest the centerpiece of the tower's turbo deck. Diamond Crab King was the Hail Mary pass, a last-ditch effort to deal with the threat, at the cost of forfeiting tempo, an especially difficult sell considering the grind game that Klees could transition to, considering the longevity and recurrence generated through the pendulum scales, with Scout and Monolith allowing for searching and draw power respectively. But in many cases, the high risk was necessary to deal with such a difficult threat. Yet more threats were creeping over the horizon though. Number 86 heroic champion Rungo Miniad seemed to be the biggest payoff for investment, with immunity to card effects, high attack and defense, unaffected by all other card effects, preventing the opponent from summoning, and even as an asymmetric board wipe when summoned with 5 materials. The steep cost prevented anything other than niche use though, but the power of the all-in strategy virtually removed the opponent's counterplay options. Similarly, the legendary Fisherman 3 was a footnote in the unkillable boss monster's history, with battle protection and blanket protection from spell and traps, with a mass banish effect on summon. Even though both monsters had tremendous power, the inconsistency of the strategies limited their immediate impact, as well as a seismic shift that was introduced alongside the Fisherman. The introduction of the Kaiju archetype marked a huge shift in the power of monster-based removal. Although Lava Golem and Volcanic Queen predate the creation of the Kaiju archetype, the ability to tribute an opponent's monster without using your normal summon, and even with the added benefit of summoning a Kaiju to the field to gain back tempo after the threat has been removed. Kaijus were a massive leap in the power of monster-based removal. They posed a generic answer for nearly any threat, while being searchable and even boasting a dark hole-like effect among their best support. Efficient, splashable, generic. The reign of Kaijus was cemented. Future bosses like Cosmo Dark Destroyer, Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, Super Quantal Mech King Magnus, Number 59 Crooked Cook, and even a cousin of Exodia Necros being the legendary Exodia Incarnate with the foreboding text, unaffected by all card effects, all fell prey to the Kaiju menace. A true blight to the strategy of any boss monster. Masterpiece, the true Draco Slaying King, saw competitive success, despite the obvious vulnerability to Kaijus. Perhaps the future of boss monster design lies closer to Darkest Diabolos, Lord of the Lair, which offers both recursion, but also an immunity to being tributed. Perhaps the fledgling murmurings of an adaptation to the Kaiju threat. But what of the legacy of the Silent Honor arc? Following the proliferation of Kaijus, number S39 Utopia the Lightning allowed for the rank 4 pool a generic answer to boss monsters, with the benefit of removing floating effects, rendering the Diamond Crab King Hail Mary obsolete, as Utopia the Lightning maintained field presence after the threat was dispatched. The spot removal of Castel was also challenged by Zodiac Trident, which could destroy a card every turn, with the additional benefit of requiring a single monster investment. Then, 8 months later, the mold for boss monsters was broken by Borolo Dragon. Borolo Dragon boasts a defensive immunity to monster effects, a battle-based effect to reduce attack and defense by 500 points, and finally a non-targeting, non-destruction based removal option which occurs in the damage step and steals the monster before sending it to the graveyard. Both the threats and responses continuously escalate, occasionally taking a stride in innovation or just perfecting a prior adaptation. The exact tactics may change, but the arms race always continues. War never changes.